Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. 3 November, Year of the Depend, Adult Undergarment. Room 204, Sub-Dormitory B. Jim Trollsch, age 17, hometown, Narberth, Pennsylvania, current Enfield Tennis Academy rank in boys 18, number 8, which puts him at number 2 singles on the 18's B team, has been taken ill again. It came on as he was suiting up warmly for the B squad's 074-hour drills. A cartridge of a round of 16 match from September's U.S. Open had been on the small room viewer with the sound all the way down as usual, and Trollsch's been straightening the straps on his jock, idly calling the match's action into his fist, when it came on. The illness. It came out of nowhere. His breathing all of a sudden started hurting the back of his throat. Then, that overfull heat in various cranial meatus. Then he sneezed, and the stuff he sneezed out was thick and doughy. It came on ultra-fast and out of the pre-drill blue. He's back in bed now, supine, watching the match's fourth set, but not calling the action. The viewer's right under Pemulus's poster of the paranoid king that you can't escape looking at if you want to look at the viewer. Clotted Kleenex litter the floor around his bed's wastebasket. The bedside table is littered with both OTC and prescription expectorants and pertussives and analgesics and vitamin C mega spaniels and one bottle of Benadryl and one of Seldane. Only the Seldane bottle actually contains several tenuate 75-milligram capsules. Trollsch has been incrementally promoted from Pemulus's part of the room and has, rather ingeniously, he thinks, stashed in bold plain sight in a bed pill bottle, where the Peemster would never think to check. Trollsch is the sort that can feel his own forehead and detect fever. It's definitely a rhinovirus, the sudden severe kind. He speculated on if yesterday, when Graham Rader pretended to sneeze on J. Trollsch's lunch tray at the milk dispenser at lunch, if Rader might have really sneezed and only pretended to pretend, transferring virulent rhinoviri to Trollsch's delicate mucosa. He feverishly, mentally calls down various cosmic retributions on Rader. Neither of Trollsch's roommates is here. Ted Schott is getting the knees first of several whirlpools for the day. Pemulus has geared up and left for 0745 drills. Trollsch offered Pemulus's rights to his breakfast to fill up his vaporizer for him, and called the first shift nurse for yet more Seldane, nuclear-grade antihistamine, and a dextromethorphan nebulizer and a written excuse from AM drills. He lies there, sweating freely, watching digitally recorded professional tennis, too worried about his throat to feel loquacious enough to call the action. Seldane is not supposed to make you drowsy, but he feels weak and unpleasantly drowsy. He can barely make a fist. He's sweaty, nausea, vomiting like not an impossibility by any means. He cannot believe how fast it came on. The illness. The vaporizer seethes and burps, and all 4 of the room's windows weep against the outside cold. There are the sad, tiny, distant champagne cork sounds of scores of balls being hit down at East Courts. Trollsch drifts at a level just above sleep. Enormous ATHSCME displacement fans far up north at the wall and borders distant roar and outdoor voices and pock of cold balls create a kind of sound carpet below the digestive sounds of the vaporizer and the squeak of Trollsch's bed springs as he thrashes and twitches in a moist half-sleep. He has heavy German eyebrows and big-knuckled hands. It's one of those unpleasant opioid feverish half-sleep states, more a fugue state than a sleep state, less a floating than like being cast adrift on rough seas, tossed mightily in and out of this half-sleep where your mind's still working, and you can ask yourself whether you're even asleep as you dream. And any dreams you do have seem ragged at the edges, gnawed on, incomplete. It's literally daydreaming. Sick, the kind of incomplete fugue you awaken with, a sort of psychic clunk, struggling up to sit upright, convinced there's someone unauthorized in the dorm room with you, falling back sick on his circle-stained pillow, staring straight up into the prolix folds of the Turkish blanketish thing, pemulous and shocked, had crazy glued to the ceiling's corners, which billows, hanging, so its folds form a terrain, like with valleys and shadows. I am coming to see that the sensation of the worst nightmares, a sensation that can be felt asleep or awake, is identical to those worst dreams forms itself. The sudden intra-dream realization that the nightmare's very essence and center has been with you all along, even awake. It's just been overlooked. And then that horrific interval between realizing what you've overlooked and turning your head to look back at what's been right there all along, the whole time. Your first nightmare away from home and folks, your first night at the academy, it was there all along. The dream is that you awaken from a deep sleep, wake up suddenly damp and panicked, and are overwhelmed with the sudden feeling that there's a distillation of total evil in this dark, strange, sub-dorm room with you. That evil's essence and center is right here, in this room, right now, and is for you alone. None of the other little boys in the room are awake. The bunk above yours sags dead, motionless. No one moves. No one else in the room feels the presence of something radically evil. None thrash or sit damply up. No one else cries out. Whatever it is not evil for them. The flashlight your mother name-tagged with masking tape and packed for you, special pans around the institutional room, the drop ceiling, the gray-striped mattress, and bulged grid of bunk springs above you, the 2 other bunk beds, another matte gray that won't return light, the piles of books and compact discs and tapes and tennis gear, your disc of white light trembling like the moon on water as it plays over the identical bureaus, the recessions of closet and room's front door, doors, frames, bolections. The cone of light pans over fixtures, the lumpy jumbles of sleeping boys' shadows on the snuff-white walls, the 2 rag throw rugs ovals on the hardwood floor, black lines of baseboards reglets, the cracks in the Venetian blinds that ooze the violet non-light of a maternal cursive plays over every centimeter of the walls, the rheostats, CD, interlace poster of Tawny Kondo, phone console, desks, TPs, the face in the floor, posters of prose, the onion skin yellow of the desk lamp's shades, the ceiling panels' patterns of pinholes, the grid of upper bunks' springs, recession of closet and door, boys wrapped in blankets, slight crack like a creek's course in the eastward ceiling, discernible now, maple reglic border at the seam of ceiling and walls north and south. No floor has a face. Your flashlight showed, but didn't. No, never did see its eyes, pupils set sideways and tapered like a cat's, its eyebrows and hard, toothy smile leering right at your light all the time you've been scanning. Oh, mother of face in the floor. Mother, oh, and your flashlight's beam stags jaggedly back for the overlooked face, misses it, overcorrects, then centers on what you'd felt but had seen without seeing. Just now, as you'd so carefully panned the light and looked, a face in the floor. There, all the time, but unfelt by all others, and unseen by you until you knew, just as you felt it, didn't belong, and was evil. Evil. And then its mouth opens at your light, and then you wake like that, quivering like a struck drum, lying there awake and quivering, summoning courage and spit, roll to the right just as in the dream, for the name-tagged flashlight on the floor by the bed, just in case. Lie there on your shank and side, shining the light all over, just as in the dream. Lie there panning, looking, all ribs and elbows and dilated eyes. The awake floor is littered with gear and dirty clothes, blonde hardwood with sealed seams, 2 throw rugs, the bare waxed wood, shiny in the window's snowlight. The floor, neutral, faceless. You cannot see any face in the floor, awake, lying there, faceless, blank, dilated, playing beam over floor again and again. Not sure all night forever, unsure you're not missing something that's right there. You lie there, awake, and almost 12, believing with all your might.